once I got onto a bit of a roll here, I've realized there's a bit to share, but I think we can move on after today. And what I want to talk about is the idea of an 80-20 inbox manager. So I've spoken a lot around when you get a calendar invite that you really want to push that towards where you want to manage meetings. So don't allow other people to set the agenda. The same is true of tasks and particularly emails. Emails are just toxic in this, or can be toxic in this day and age in terms of you can get just trapped in threads that just keep going and going and going. The first step, I think, is really to be able to have the confidence to batch those. So do a long morning session and come back in shorter intervals for the rest of the day. The way that I can do that is by taking the 80-20 principle presented by John Maxwell. And 80-20 principle, Pareto principle, but John Maxwell talks about using it for looking at the importance of every email or task that you're given, that every email comes with a predisposed importance. There's actually this tension, particularly if I'd say there's always a tension between the person sending it and the person receiving it in terms of how important and how urgent is it. You need to be able to set the importance and the urgency for yourself. If you're going to be dictated to all day long by everyone else's importance and urgency of their emails, you're never going to get to work on the things that are actually most important for you for the day. So here's just a really, really simple framework. We have in the top left here, high importance, high urgency tasks, high importance, then low urgency, low importance, and high urgency, low and low. So the tasks that you first want to get onto for the day are the high importance and high urgency. Generally, these can be described as this can only be done by you, and it's the highest value task. So it's really important that when you get an email in, you consider, all right, well, actually, can this be done by someone else? If so, who? And delegate. If not, if it needs to be done by you, then work out how important is this. And the importance is the value, and the value might be on how quickly you need to get back, or the value might be in how much that's worth for you as a company or as your agency. So the high, the ones you want to deal with first. Then you want to look at your high importance and low urgency. These are going to be similar. So they can only be done by you, but they don't need to be done today. They might not even need to be done tomorrow. They're the ones you should really be doing next. And they really should be, I guess, in competition to low importance and high urgency tasks. Now, this, I believe, is where the most tension exists between a client and an agency. So in a service-based business, is understanding the urgency that might be coming from a client can often on their side then be dictated as this is very high importance. So it's really, really valuable here as an agency to be able to stand up for yourselves and for the client to actually say, look, I understand this is very urgent. I've received your email. I'm going to get back to you at this time because we're prioritizing the other things that you need to do for them. If in that exchange they come back and say, I don't care about those other things, I need it now, cool. Well, then you can rearrange priorities, but at least there's that conversation to know that we are actually changing the priorities together. I think where things fall apart is either in the account management side, you read the urgency and go, oh, I've got to get my team off everything else and force them onto this thing. But the client didn't ever actually want that. It is important, it is urgent, but they're not going to do it at the sacrifice for the other things. The other component is saying, this isn't important versus the others, but not communicating that to the client. And so you end up in this sense where the client is now just waiting for a reply. And the worst thing that can ever happen now is a phone call. And a phone call obviously disrupts all your other scheduling. And so now this low importance but high urgency task is becoming a bigger thing. So I highly recommend that these need the clearest communication, because you're either going to be delegating to someone in your team, but you also should be writing back to say to the client, I've received this, I understand it's urgent, here's the process. Now, low, you can do it later. They're the absolute lowest value thing you can do today. That's reading emails, newsletters, that might be, social friend change, whatever might be those lowest value things for you. So I'm just going to quickly jump to Gmail and show how this happens in practice. So you can see here, I'm going to move that over here. I've actually got some high labeled items here. And so every email that comes in, which I am bragging here, I've got no new emails. To me, this happens not usually on a Tuesday, but usually by a Wednesday or a Thursday because of the system. So it's not that I don't have any emails in my inbox. It's just that they're all spread amongst the high, 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 low, low, high, low, low. So every time I do the batching, I move emails. And then as you saw the other day in my do the work section, that's where I'm going to focus on my high, 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 low tasks first. All right. So to set this up, you just need to, on Gmail particularly, so you need to create a new label. Down here, you can just manage labels or create a new label. So just create it, put an asterisk or some kind of symbol so that you can see it up the top here. And then what you need to do is in your inbox settings, in add-ons, I believe it's, or themes, multiple inboxes, you just need to be able to put whatever the name of that is up the top. So that means that whenever I receive a new email, it will still show in my inbox, but above that is always going to be my high elements. All right, so I think that's the last I'll share on just time management, calendar hacks, and our inbox manager. I do want to move on to sharing, get some learnings around entrepreneurship and leadership in running an agency, as well as just some advertising things that we're seeing happening at the moment. Thanks for watching.